Welcome back to the Boyle Express, everybody. We are back after a couple weeks off. We're talking about Indiana State. We're talking about Notre Dame. We're talking a little bit of basketball. Got a lot of good stuff tonight, so stay tuned.
Hey,
what's up, everybody?
Well.
Hey,
that worked really well.
We're getting it. We're figuring it out. We're
Figuring
trying
it
to
out,
up
brother.
our podcast game. So, but we're back after a couple weeks off. After really kind of a rough off season for us. We're got a lot of life going on. Got vacations and babies and new chapters, all that good stuff. But we
Stay
got
busy.
we got myself. We got Chris, the chief of law. We've got Frank, the stat tank, the big brain tonight. Dylan maybe jumping in at some point. He said he'll get on when he gets home, so we'll see.
I'm gonna be honest. It took me like 7 minutes to make sure I spelled chief right because I always spell like chef.
The chef of law. Hey,
The chef
he's
of
always,
law.
Chris is always cooking something up, y'all. So, what's up, guys? How you guys doing? It's been a while. I feel like I haven't talked to you guys for
I know,
a while.
right?
The one pod I did on here was with Dylan. So,
No, I'm good, man. Just
That's
chilling.
good to be back.
Good to get back into the flow. Kind of. This is that exciting time for me because it's that gear up towards college football season. You know, Big Ten Network's got like the Purdue days and the Ohio State days and stuff. And it's fun seeing some of those old games, those big games that kind of gears you up. And camp, couple months away, and it's gonna be fun.
A quick shout out though, or not shout out, but quick request for our followers. Follow us on Facebook. I know that's kind of a diminishing or becoming an antiquated technology, but we get a lot of interaction on Facebook, and Facebook has these new regulations where you have to have a certain number of followers before you can go live. So if you can help us get there, that'd be great. We'd really appreciate that. We'd like to continue streaming our stuff on Facebook.
Absolutely. So, if you guys didn't check it out a couple weeks ago, we're going to try to get it on Spotify, but it's definitely on YouTube and our Twitter. But Dylan and I did a breakdown of the roster. There's obviously a lot of turnover again this year with Purdue. 45, I think 44 or 45 new bodies coming in between freshmen and transfers. So a lot of new names.
27 just out of the portal alone.
Yeah. So a lot of new names, but a lot of talent coming in. A lot of guys that you should be really excited about. Go back and watch spring game highlights if you were, looking for things to do this summer and get hyped for football. Go back and watch that episode. Just learn some new names. Who are guys that you guys? I don't know if you guys both got a chance to see that, but who you guys? Before we get into the opponents, who guys are you're excited about coming in this year, either freshmen or transfers or whoever that you guys are excited about?
Chris,
I am stupid excited about Nyland Green, cornerback out of Georgia. He is that stereotypical, long, aggressive, physical corner in a Ryan Walters defense. And I like the minute he committed, not only just the simple fact that he's got the national title game experience, he brings a wealth of knowledge to some of these other guys, along with the other. I know there's I want to say a D tackle and a couple wide receivers that came over from Georgia. But just the wealth of knowledge he brings on the defensive side of the football. Don't mind me. The wealth of knowledge that he brings on the defensive side of the football to help that secondary, which was honestly super lacking last season, I think is going to be big. And he's going to really show that defensive backfield how to play physical. And I think I'm stupid excited about him being on the field.
Absolutely. Who you got, Frank?
Yeah, so Russ, I'll let you decide if this is an acceptable answer or not. But I'm going to go with Jamal Adrien, right? He came in last season, was hurt in training camp in the summertime, so we never actually got to see him on the field. So I guess in that sense, he's a newcomer, but he's who I'm most excited. How's it going, OHIO guys? Thanks for stopping.
What's up, baby?
Yeah, hey, so I'm really excited about him.
You're here with us there, Eric. You see me right there above my right shoulder.
But part of the reason I'm excited is because of how sad Walter seemed when he was hurt. I think the exact quote was, "He's hurt, Jamal Adrien's hurt, and that sucks." Like it was the most like genuine that sucks that came out of his mouth. So excited to see what he can do. We had some hits to the wide receiver room, but I know he was a guy the coaching staff was really high on going into last season. So
they even talked about in the spring game that dude is going to be just amazing. Like
he didn't play in the spring game.
No,
Correct.
but like
Nope.
they were talking about like
Right.
what he brings to the team and stuff like that, about speed and hands and size and all that other stuff. Like I'm super excited about him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
CJ Madden, Chris, that you were the other transfer from Georgia.
Yeah, because going back to last year, like you said, Frank, we didn't have spring ball, last year. We didn't have the personnel. Going into this offseason, we've got enough, offensive linemen to run 3 full O-line with 1 or 2 to spare. And last year we had like 7 or 8 O-linemen going into spring ball. So like we were grasping at anything. And so especially when the training camp hit last year, we were just trying to listen to every little thing. And they, the reporters did a good job on the ground there of going, hey, who are you looking for? What wide receivers, what running backs, whatever. And on the wide receiver room, the only name he said was Jamal Edrin.
Mhm.
And he was very, very hyped up for him. And he looked hyped in the spring game. I mean, he just looked, obviously as hyped as you can for a spring game. It's not an actual game, but he was happy to be out there. He was jumping around. He was catching some passes. He just wasn't on the field and in pads. So he's definitely a good name to watch for this year. The good thing about the Georgia guys is if you remember 2 names, CJ and Nylon, you can remember all 4 of the players. So we've got CJ Madden is a linebacker. CJ Smith is a speedster wide receiver who CJ Smith might be the new fastest guy on the team. They were talking about in the spring game.
That dude scoots
super fast. And then, Nylon Green and, at the defensive back position that Chris just talked about. And then Denylon Morissette is another receiver that's kind of more possession guy that he's expected to play some good snap counts, get some good snap counts in rotation with the wide receiver room there. So
comment here from Cody. Welcome,
love it.
Cody. Again, I don't know if you caught our comment about Facebook. Facebook is requiring a certain number of followers now before we can go back live there. So apologies for that. But Cody says, I'm excited for this season, especially bringing back the rivalry game with Notre Dame. And I'm interested what Hudson can do. Yeah, we're excited as well. Excited to get into that game a bit here in just a few minutes.
And honestly, that's something I've been super excited about, and that was super refreshing with the spring game was that, and I think I talked about this on the huddle, was the like Hudson wasn't reacting. He was like, I take that back. He was reacting, but in like a positive way. It wasn't like a scramble. Oh crap. You know what I mean? He was like, he looked like he wasn't thinking too much. He was just doing what the defense gave him after the snap, which we didn't see a lot last year. And I thought that was pretty good.
But I think when you look at Hudson Card's best performances, just thinking in my mind, no stats to back this up, and Russ, you may be able to back me up and tell me I'm wrong here, but when he was protected, he performed really well last season. And I think that what we did in the transfer portal with respect to the offensive line is just going to lend itself to that even more. We got a lot of transfers.
Yeah, if you guys are starved for some off-season content, also go check out Big Ten Football Talk with Zach Guggenheim. Frank, is that?
Yeah. So OHIO wants to know if this is Aldi wine. This is actually quite opposite. I bought this from a winery in Washington when I got married. Bought it from the winery owner. So it's actually very, very high quality wine.
Whiskey or nothing, baby.
Yeah. So Big Ten Football Talk with Zach Guggenheim. Go check him out on Twitter. Check him out on the podcast sites. I was on there with him a couple weeks ago, talking about the state of the program with Purdue football and what we're expecting and what we felt about last year. And like you just said, Frank, Illinois and Minnesota were 2 of the most impressive performances by a Big Ten team outside of the big 3, I think, in my opinion, in the whole Big Ten. Outside of Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State. Like Purdue, we handled Illinois and we handled Minnesota. Minnesota made it close towards the end, but we had our way with them. We basically did whatever we wanted, and that was an example of what this offense can look like if we protect Hudson Card, and I think we're going to do a better job of protecting Hudson Card this year. To piggyback on your Nylon Green thing too, Chris, I don't think people understand how big of a get he was. Like, it's really easy to sit there and look at the fact we got 4 guys from Georgia, we got some SEC, we got some Big 12 guys, whatever, and people go, oh yeah, but they were probably bench warmers and they didn't get their time and they didn't whatever. No, he was rated as their 6th best defender per Pro Football Focus last year. Like he was legit. He was the 12th overall highest player in the portal and the highest DB in the portal. Like he picked us over a lot of big name schools. So to get somebody like that, and I'll credit to the guys that went out there for us last year. Like everybody put it on the line. I'm very proud of the effort, even though that wasn't the result we wanted at the end of the season. But we had guys that transferred at the last second. We had guys that were playing safety, trying to play corner last year. This year, we've actually got dudes that's their specialty is playing lockdown corner or being a speedy guy like in Kendrick Breedlove. He's a fast guy. Nyland Green's a shutdown corner. Like we didn't have that last year. We've got that now.
Yeah, I mean we really had one shutdown corner last season who unfortunately got hurt.
Yeah.
Midway through the season. But yeah, the secondary just wasn't very deep last season. I think we're adding quite a bit of depth to that secondary. But yeah, I'm really excited to see what those guys from Georgia can do. And I don't mean this necessarily as a slight to Purdue, more so as a compliment to Georgia. Guys who don't see the field a ton at Georgia are still very good players. I think we need to remember that. And I think a good comparison, just to switch over to basketball for 1 second, would be Mason Gill. I mean, like he would start for most Power Five, and started at Purdue. When you have a stacked roster.
I mean, Nyland Green coming out of high school was the 19th ranked recruit nationally, second at corner, and the 3rd ranked recruit out of Georgia. Like those type of dudes don't just like magically happen. What I don't remember the number, but is a very few select people that get that 5-star, and it's because they've done what they needed to do, and they've gotten it from people who all they do is college football.
Speaking of the 5-star, there's a guy that's gotten 5-star at different times and different sites that's going to be on campus. Or actually is on campus, is going to be on the field for us that we didn't see in the spring game in Terran Grant. So we don't know who he's going to, like, how is he going to play in the mix? Like, we've got a lot of talent on this defensive side of the ball, and that was our weak point last year. It really was. I mean, you look at our metrics or the numbers on defense, and we were very bottom of the conference in defense. Our offense was very solid. Our offense, I think, was the 5th or 6th scoring offense in the Big Ten. We just couldn't stop people.
Well, didn't we put up more points on Michigan than anyone else?
I believe so. Yep.
Yeah. But one thing about Tari and Grant too, that is officially the mystery player that Walters called out during his radio show. It's
like 8 months ago.
Yeah, yeah. Because I'm not sure if that was a good thing or a bad thing that he did, but it was definitely a thing where he said, hey, we had a 5-star commit due to all you great fans showing up, making a lot of ruckus at the game. Had a 5-star player give me a verbal commit, and then just silence.
Yeah.
So we're all like, who is it?
There was even people within our group chat that were like, wait a minute.
Yeah. We talked about it quite a bit on our show. We didn't let him forget. I know he watches, so we want to address Cody's comment as we welcome in Dylan. Dylan, you're looking great over there.
Boy!
Nobody else dressed up for the occasion. What are we doing?
I'm a slob.
What do you think, Danny DeVito over there, Dylan?
Danny DeVito.
That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. Thank
what
you.
other 46-centimeter actors do you know?
So,
are you saying I'm that tall?
Yeah.
So, Dylan, we got Cody asking a question. I'll let you take his question and share your thoughts on
it. Do you think Hudson is slowly turning into Kyle Orton deal? Jesus, I just came in and you're making me read stuff.
That was great. I was laughing. I was like, yeah, let's just fire one away.
As I'm all frazzled, I just ran in the door and joined the podcast. Do you think Hudson Card is slowly into a Kyle Orton deal when he has settled down? Good things happen. I am a well-known Kyle Orton fan. I love Kyle Orton, one of the last Purdue quarterbacks to wear obnoxiously long sleeves. So I don't know. They're kind of different quarterbacks. I don't think Kyle's as quick as Hudson, but sure, yeah.
No, but I definitely think that like growing up in the Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees kind of era, if you protect them, they can rip you apart.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's why I think that's the thing with Hudson is if you give him time, he's going to just zip it up. And that's the one thing I noticed in the spring game is that is like he was more apt to run when he needed to instead of trying to roll back 15 yards and then throw it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean,
I feel what you're putting
people
down.
forget he had 200 plus rushing yards and 5 touchdowns on the ground last year.
Mhm.
My hair's a mess. Jesus.
I think he could be better than Orton. I'll just say that now since we got a little pause here. I think
Wow.
he's better. I think he can be better than Orton. I think he's an NFL caliber guy. He just is being slept on because Purdue went 4-8 last year. He was injured last year. We didn't, he didn't have all the solid games, but he was third in the conference in yards per game passing last year.
Russ, you're on my shit list today.
That's
Joey.
that's no sign on Kyle Orton. Kyle Orton's
No, I'm not even talking about this. I'm talking because you think the perjury on our Joey Chestnut, one of the heroes of America, and you're just okay with
Your
him
best-
getting
your best
banned.
Well, it's because he went to go eat vegan.
Hey, buddy's
You
making
nerd.
money.
No,
Buddy's
he,
making
he,
money.
he just
One.
took money from a vegan.
It
hot dog
doesn't
stand
matter.
last year.
You eat American hot dogs for a living, and you want to come back and try and say, "Ooh, I'm supported by vegan." Pfft, suck it. You suck. Get out of here.
Hey, Joey Chestnut's my hero.
I wouldn't be surprised if
Justice
they
for
let him
Joey.
back in due to like some fan backlash or something like that.
Frank, is your mic plugged in? Are you pulling to me? You sound a little.
I was thinking the same thing, but I don't have headphones in, so I didn't know if that was why it sounded
Yeah,
different for me.
This is important
I
stuff.
bought these glasses thinking they were black because I thought they were on eBay, but they weren't. But
Do I sound better now?
there we go.
Oh, hey.
Oh.
You did pull a me.
Man, that's fun. Okay, cool.
Chris,
So, just in time, Dylan, we're going to talk about a team we really need to go in depth on. The team we opened the season with. That we got to. I hope you guys have a lot of notes on them.
home of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah, I was just saying.
Not Kareem. Kareem, you nerd.
We do
home of
open the
Larry
season
Bird.
in
That
August.
a girl.
In August, y'all. So, like, literally this month, next month is July, and then the next month we have Purdue football. in
Good
August.
math, Russ. Jesus
I know,
Christ.
right? I know.
Atta boy, Russie.
And Indiana State, if you all didn't know, they went 1-10 last year, 1-7 in conference, lost to Indiana 41-7, lost to Ball State 45-7. So,
Goodness gracious.
I'm a big Walters supporter. I'll go to battle for that guy. I'll take a bullet for that guy. But if we lose that game, that's just unacceptable.
I
We
think
are
you
not
get
going to
fired right after
Like,
if you lose to Indiana State.
I agree.
Mother.
So bold prediction for this game. Maccabee goes off.
I like
I
that.
thought you were going to say that. Remember the statement you made a couple years ago when you thought Indiana State was going to be a close game because they played like North Alabama close or something.
Man,
Yeah,
you have a
Frank.
really good memory. I
Yeah,
was
Frank,
hoping
you're
that wouldn't come up tonight.
Russ
Listen.
took his meds.
Listen, so a couple reasons why I think Devin Maccabee's going to go off. First off, that was his breakout game, if you guys remember that. Like, that game got to be so much of a bloodbath that they let Devin Maccabee come in and he went off for like 150 yards or something like that. Two, Devin Maccabee, as we learned having his dad on here, he was snubbed by Indiana State. They brought him in for a workout and they said, oh, okay, there's the door. So, I mean, there's that personal aspect. Yeah, I think Maccabee puts up like 200.
Oh, that would be
But-
great. This mic stand. Oh
It-
my
it's-
God.
It's possible. I think it might be hard for him to do that in a game this year just because Reggie Love he's also been impressive. He's going to have to work in. And I don't think there's going to be a time where, Coach Walters wants to run him into the ground. Like, he wants to keep him fresh, and especially first game of the year. Like, I don't know.
But
Yeah, I
being
also
first game
think
of the
it's-
year, you're coming off a rest, and if you're running the hot hand, send it.
I also think it's slightly unrealistic that the game is close enough to keep him in for an
Also
extended
true.
period of time as well.
I agree with
Now I
that.
know I'm not trying to have too much of a homer take. I'm in the same camp as Russ here in terms of how I feel this game's going to go, but it's a D1 football team at the end of the day. They're going to have some good players. They're going to have some guys looking to make a name. They're going to have some guys who are going to be looking to put their name in the transfer portal at the end of the season. Unfortunately, that's just the way of the world these days. So, but that's my bold prediction. What do you guys think?
You're all right, Chris. You're muted. There you go.
No, I know. I was saying before I said on air, guy. I think I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Dude that
Devin
didn't play
Maccabee.
last season from FAU.
Think.
Frank, who did we just talk about?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Devin Maccabee. That's who we just talked about.
No,
To be fair, he's right.
the guy that everybody was like, "Oh man, he tore his ACL. That sucks."
Robbie
or
Hummel.
FIU.
FAU,
It's
FIU.
amateur. It's amateur hour.
Same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, I'm not really. I'm not.
Ooh, the new logo looks nice.
Dylan, you talk.
Yeah, yeah. I think Maccabee's gonna have a hell of a season. I would love for him to run for the Heisman. As we know, I mean, we're a Maccabee family program, big fans of theirs, and I think he will go off on Indiana State. I think the combo of him and what's the other running back from Illinois?
Reggie Love.
Reggie
Love. How do I forget a name like Reggie Love? I think the duo of that will tear Indiana State to pieces, and I think they'll have a hell of a game. Rusty, hot takes. What you got?
Well, I mean, since you guys didn't catch the roster preview a couple weeks ago, I think Jaheim Merriweather could have a decent game. He could come in and have 100 yards in this game. He was a very impressive freshman. I loved what he did in the spring game. Granted, it was with like third teamers, but I think this is the game. My bold prediction would be we drop 50.
Ooh.
I think we go off. I think this team's got a chip on its shoulder big time. You know, obviously 4-8 was not the result they wanted, and now everybody's putting us at the very bottom of this new Big Ten, and they want to come out and make a point. And, you know, tough for Indiana State that they drew us in week one, because I think whoever we played in week one, we were going to be coming out tough against. And I think that it's going to be one of those games that, you know, the Purdue lovers and the ones that are high on this season and think, you know, I think we have an 8-win ceiling. There's gonna be confirmation bias, but then the haters are gonna go, yeah, well, it's Indiana State. Let's do it against Notre Dame. Let's see what happens. Well, it's gonna get smacked against Notre Dame. So, but I think it's gonna be a very impressive performance.
Notre Dame, more like Notre Lame.
Notre Lame.
What's you, Chris? Did you figure it out yet?
Jamal Edrin.
Nailed it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't. I forgot where he
Nailed it.
transferred in from. So, got a comment here from Eric. I assume it's Eric from the OHIO podcast, who says, "Look up Fritz the Night Owl. My wife believed that's who Dylan looks like tonight." I am
Stand by.
Hey, Mrs. Boggs. What's up?
yeah.
Wow, easy.
Easy. Jesus. Oh my God.
It's perfect.
Is it? What is it? It's night owl. What is this?
Fritz the Night Owl.
The Night Owl.
Fritz the Night Owl. Is that
You look like a more. I'm not gonna say that here.
Wow. Hold on.
Here, I'll see if I can. I'm gonna
What
pull
is
it
this?
up here. I'm gonna try my best to pull it up here.
I am honored, to be honest. Great
You
mustache.
look like a Wish version Jeffrey Dahmer.
Wow.
All right, boys. Fritz the Night Owl.
Wow.
Fritz the Night Owl. It's who Dylan looks like. tonight,
That's my
so,
new Twitter profile photo.
Yeah.
Shout
There
out
we
to the
go.
Boggs family for watching the program.
Yeah,
Putting
thank
themselves
you.
through that. Love you all.
Yeah.
Hey.
They got a cool dog too.
I've honestly never heard of this guy. Yeah.
Eric's also like 74.
So
Cody says, hopefully it doesn't turn out like the Fresno State game, and OMG does look like Fritz. No, Fresno State was a completely different animal.
I
Fresno
think
State
that was an anomaly.
they were a 10-win conference champion team. Indiana State is an FCS 1-win team. Like, this game will not even be within 30 points.
Jesus.
So Russ, yeah, I wanted to ask, what's your opinion on what happens defensively? So you're saying we drop 50, but do we win 50-49, or is it 50-14?
Oh, I'd be surprised if they get double digits.
Oh,
Personally,
Wow.
I'll be surprised.
Rusty hot takes in the
This
building.
defense is going to be impressive this year. I really think it's going to be. We talked about how when Walters was at Illinois, first year they were outside of the top 100. The second year they jumped to 30th or something like that.
Mhm.
Right. And then he started putting together those top 10, top 5 performances at Illinois. This is Purdue. Purdue has a much better football culture than Illinois. I know they're technically a rival on the football side, but the classes we're 8th in the conference in transfer and recruiting class this year. We got 4 stars galore, a 5-star defensive back. Our defense retooled majorly, and 3 of the transfers I think started in the spring game. Plus we've got 2 4-stars and a 5-star coming on campus in the fall. This defense is going to be stacked this
I
year.
got one thing to tell you.
What?
Be a hip shaking,
What?
ankle breaking,
What?
big defense,
What?
son of a gun.
What? What? What?
Yeah, I'm not. I don't
screaming.
know how you all coordinated that, but that was good. I was over here waiting to see what
A
was going to
couple
happen.
stooges think alike, and it just happens naturally.
So Russ, what we saw at Illinois was that
Bring
he
it back,
had
Frank.
what we saw at Illinois basically is that like he rushed 5 almost every single play and then just had lockdown, one-on-one corners. So do you think that with our front 5, let's say defensively, are they going to be enough to get consistent pressure, and then is the secondary good enough to basically play one-on-one?
I'm sweating
Like,
after that.
So and the one person we can just give a pass to is Dylan Thieneman, because yes he is. We saw that last season that he just kind of plays that punt return formation and hangs out way back there and is super quick and speedy and hits really hard and is one of my favorite players to watch. So
yeah, like I said, Nyland Green is a legit lockdown corner. I talked about CJ Smith being a speedster and being maybe the fastest guy on our roster. If he's not the fastest, they're saying Kendrick Breedlove, another transfer, might be the fastest. And so he's going to be
faster
a great
than
corner.
Thieneman.
That's what they're. I mean, that's what they're talking about. Like he wasn't even in the conversation, and I'm like, man, like if they're really that much faster, that Thieneman's not in the conversation as the fastest guy on our team, like our defense is going to be night and day different. Cajun Jenkins, if you didn't see the spring game or hear it yet, he is playing more of a middle linebacker role on the early downs. He'll still be rushing the passer. I'm sure he'll still have nice sack numbers, but him being more in control in the middle there and having guys like Will Helt and Yanni Karlaftis go after the passer.
Karlaftis? How did
Karlaftis?
Yeah,
Karlaftis.
Karlaftis had a really good spring game. I think there was one series where he like got back-to-back sacks. Now, to be fair, like if you got a pinky on the quarterback, they were calling it a sack in that game. Like some of those, I was like, I'm not sure that was a sack. Like, but there was one player where he got back-to-back sacks.
Shittasilla, bless me.
Excuse me.
Talk about him.
Excuse my French.
Yeah.
Bless you.
He started the spring game. He's listed as a rush end. He's a 4-year guy from basically a 5th-year COVID senior from Boston College.
Say that name again.
He looked good. We're expecting big things out of him. Moa Monde, he was a guy that was kind of a trivia question last year. He was actually one of our highest rated defenders. He's going to be great for us this year.
He had a sneaky good end of the season. Like he was really coming on there at the end of the season. But can we just go ahead and declare Shittasilla a friend of the pod? Like just make it happen.
I love that name, Shittasilla.
Yeah, let's just
I'm
so let it be written. So let it be done. So
I mean, what if it's Shittasilla? What?
Yeah, that's it.
It's not
right. No, that's it. Yeah.
I mean, this is a family. This is a family program.
Go with it, Dill. Go with it, Dill.
Program's off
Listen,
the rails.
what'd you expect me coming in hot?
So
me and you back on with at the same time.
It's been a while since we've both been on the same podcast, Chris. We got to catch up on some tomfoolery.
Cody says, Russ, are you saying that we're Rose Bowl contenders? I didn't say that. I said an 8-4 ceiling. 8-4 is not going to get us to Rose Bowl.
So you're backtracking,
especially considering Rose Bowl is what the Rose Bowl is a quarterfinal this year. So you got to make the playoff to even get to the Rose Bowl. So I just think that this team is going to surprise some people, and I think we definitely make a bowl game. And Notre Dame could be that first marquee win of Coach Walter's era. It really could. It's at home. It's at it's at night. I think right. They announced it was a night game or 3:30 maybe. 3:30. 3:30. Okay. So yeah. So I really think Notre Dame is going to be in for more fight. And listening to Always Irish, the guy that is actually a friend of and a partner with College Huddle. He was saying on his show, I was listening to some of his stuff. Notre Dame's worried about Purdue. They're not now. They don't think it's a game they should lose by any means, but they've got a lot of games on their schedule. A lot of people think they have an easy schedule, and so it's easy to look over a team like Purdue that went 4-8 last year and has a second-year head coach. But he was saying he thinks it's still rivalry. Obviously, it's a rivalry. I think Purdue has the second or third most wins against Notre Dame of any team in Division I. Like Purdue, the people don't realize they played like 80, 90 something times. They do play for the Golden Shillelagh. So it's a legit rivalry game. And even when we've lost, we played them tough. Even the Charlie Weiss era, even the Danny Hope era, like we still played them tough.
That's what I loved about that rivalry is no matter the state of either program, it was a good game. Every single time. It was a good game.
Oh yeah.
Eric thinks the Pop-Tart Bowl is an insult, but give me the Pop-Tart Bowl 9 out of 10 times.
Listen, Eric. I attended in person the Cheez-It Bowl, and it was crazy. They had
Purdue. Purdue is known for going to food bowl games. We got the Little Caesars Pizza Bowl,
Caesars.
champs,
Cheez-Its.
the Cheez-It, the
We
hopefully
were
a
not the
Pop-Tart.
Cheez-It Bowl champs. We did not
No.
win that game. It was
I
actually
almost
a bloodbath.
you flew down for that one. I almost
Hey,
flew down for that one.
OHIO beat Michigan.
Yeah, ooh, that's tough. Yeah.
Oh,
They're on our schedule
Russ-
this year, Chris. Let's not wake the beast.
F.
I'm
F
going to that game, by the way. I hope we're all going.
What,
Russ,
Ohio
before we
State?
get
Guess what? Got to work.
before we get too far into Notre Dame, I think it's a good time to pause and shout out some of our sponsors.
Dylan's whispers some sweet nothings in our
Yeah,
ear.
but the Martin Vintage. Do you want to just do Martin Vintage myself because the
No.
audio is
We're
really
playing
messed
it.
up?
We're
Okay.
playing
No,
it.
we're playing it.
So
The
we
audio is
got
messed up.
we got a couple of commercials for
Oh,
our
yeah.
fantastic sponsors. We'll be back here in a couple of minutes after our commercials are done playing. Sit back and enjoy the 90s sort of
roll that beautiful
jazzy,
brown footage.
smooth music, and we'll see you guys here in just a few minutes.
Tell me, do you like to be fashionable? Do you like to look handsome or beautiful? Do you like being the best dressed Purdue fan you know? Well, guess what? We got just the place for you. It's called martinvintage.com. And if you go there, you will find the best in Purdue throwback designs on the market. I'm telling you, if you want it, they got it. Basketball, football, Purdue Pete logos, anything and everything. And if you go to martinvintage.com and use code BXP at checkout, they'll throw you 10% off your order. Now, that's a great deal if you ask me. Tell them that we sent you, and they'll say, hey, you have slightly above average taste in podcasts. Here's 10% because they're friends of the program, and we can't thank them enough. Again, martinvintage.com. Use code BXP at checkout for 10% off. Boiler up.
Attention all college basketball enthusiasts. Are you tired of just watching the game and ready to dive deeper into the stats and strategies that make college basketball so thrilling? Introducing CBBAnalytics.com, your ultimate destination for college basketball analytics. With CBBAnalytics.com, you'll have access to the stats and insights that you need to take your love for the game to the next level. From shooting percentages to player efficiency ratings, CBBAnalytics.com has it all. Get detailed player profiles, in-depth team analysis, player and team shot charts, and even in-game trends available all at your fingertips. Do you want to know how well Purdue shoots above the break threes with 10 or fewer seconds left on the shot clock? CBB Analytics has you covered. You want to see how different lineups perform in different situations? CBBAnalytics.com has you covered. You can get a free tier subscription, which allows you to see stats for just one team. But if you truly want to elevate your game knowledge, be sure to check out the Pro Tier subscription, which allows access to all 362 Division I teams. One of our favorite features is the in-game streaming system, which displays real-time stats, analytics, and even shot charts during live games. If you're ready to expand your basketball knowledge, check out cbbanalytics.com today.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Good work, gentlemen. Also, check out at Cincy Blitzboards on Twitter.
I still need to make one for
front of the pod. Check them out. Great yard game. Kind of a little Yahtzee, little cornhole, little stuff mixed in there.
We're going to have tailgates this season. They will be in a huge part of said tailgates.
Absolutely.
So
Notre Dame
up for every podcast.
Notre Dame.
Got a good
What
vibe.
do you guys' thoughts on Notre Dame? What are your chances? What do you think we're looking like going into Notre Dame?
Hey, guess what? Boilers by Billy.
Shocker.
I like that take. And so, Russ, it's like a cliche or easy answer to say like there's just so many unknowns. But you know, when they bring in 9 guys from the transfer portal and they lose 18, one of which to Purdue, as we bring in Joey Tanona from Notre Dame. Fascinating story about him. It's definitely worth looking into. I won't bore you guys with it here, but really cool story about him and his career. But you know, when you lose 18 guys, you bring in 9. It's just tough. Like, and like how well is that unit going to mesh? You know, that's the ultimate question. But I think that this will be a rowdy game from a crowd perspective. You know, I think that like a lot of us older Purdue fans, you know, who were around when that game was played every year are gonna show up for that one. I know that's one I'll definitely be at. And we always took that game very seriously. I mean, I know growing up, that was always the game I was most excited for. Like, I didn't care about IU. It's like Notre Dame was the game we always actually went to. So that's I think there's going to be a lot of emotion behind it, in my opinion, and the fact that people from the Notre Dame crowd, as you described, Russ, are actually a little bit nervous about this game. I think that this game has the potential to be close. I think it has potential to be a 7 to 10 point game. It really depends on how well the defense plays, in my opinion. But I'll pause there and see what you all have to say.
That's kind of where I was thinking, a 7 to 10 point game. I think Purdue kind of gets out the gate early and has some of that home crowd advantage that kind of drives them early. Then it gets close towards the third, and then it's just a rock fight in the fourth.
And then shout happens and the crowd goes wild. God. And
that's hard. Saturday? That's hard to envision, Dylan.
Is that a Saturday game or a Friday?
Saturday.
Okay, Monday. Monday.
Shut
the
up.
only Friday game that I know of at home is Oregon.
Game.
Dude, that's gonna be hard for me to pull, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna take
Oregon?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Boiler Express private jet out of Dayton and
Dylan, you
kind of like you
say anything yet.
Kind of like you were to Virginia Tech, or
yeah, it's gonna land on the field. It's gonna land on the field, hand delivered, Dylan.
I'm gonna parachute down.
Seat. Yeah. No. He's gonna land on the Purdue logo. He's gonna walk out. The crowd's gonna go wild.
And Coach Walters is gonna be like, "Here's a headset, pal. Call some plays." And I'll be like, "You got it."
Yeah, that's exactly.
And then Dylan's gonna turn his Xbox off and go, "Man, I got to get to the game."
That's good. Good one, Russ. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, I'll give you that. All right.
No, so it looks like the Michigan State game is also a Friday game.
Oh yeah,
that's an away game though, but I had to check. So Oregon and Michigan State, 2 Friday games.
I'm going to touch on what Eric said here. So Eric said you might have a QB advantage in the Notre Dame game. That's one thing I'm going to say a lot, and I believe in a lot with this team, is Hudson Card is like I said, an NFL talent. I think he could end up having a better career here than Kyle Orton. I really do. I think he could be a better quarterback, and it's a quarterback's game, right? College football and football as a whole is a quarterback's game. If we have the best quarterback, I think we will in the majority of our games this year, then we've got a chance in all of them. I think there's a good chance we pull off either Oregon or Notre Dame, and I think Notre Dame's a better chance than Oregon. Just Oregon's, I think, a much more talented team. They were much closer to making the playoff last year, and I think they're a legit playoff contender this year. I think Notre Dame's more of a fringe playoff team, and like Frank said, they lost a lot and didn't bring in quite as much from the transfer portal to replace what they lost. And it's a rivalry game, and it's at Ross-Ade, so I think this is a chance where I think we have a 30%, 35% chance of pulling this one off.
Actually, assigning a percentage, I like that. I like that a lot.
You would, your stats nerd.
Nerd.
Yeah, I like stats.
I do like your shirt. Too bad they didn't make the finals. I was rooting for him.
Yeah, always get a shirt when I go to a basketball game.
Go Mavericks.
Yeah, so not to get too far ahead of ourselves here, Russ, but I think it's interesting that you're picking Oregon as another potential upset. Let's say it's an upset. Yeah.
So the thing about Oregon is it's their first season going across the country with the Big Ten, right? Like the travel is going to get to them, and guess who they play the week before us? Ohio State on Saturday. Okay. And it's probably going to be, I would guess it might be even a night game against Ohio State, although I know they like putting the big game on noon now on Fox. But, they're going to play Ohio State on Saturday and then have a short week to come all the way across the country to play us. So it could be a little bit of a letdown game. Who knows if they're banged up after Ohio State, if they've lost somebody.
To be honest, they probably won't even fly back.
No, it's at Oregon.
That's what I was thinking.
Ohio State goes to
Oregon.
Okay. I thought it was at – okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Well, statistically speaking, you actually have a disadvantage if you travel west versus if you travel east across time zones. So
what the fuck?
So
yeah, my brain doesn't comprehend what you just said. So.
While I just read that in a book this past weekend.
Oh, you read books?
Read, so it's
what a flex. Frank reads books.
Yeah, but while they will be traveling, they're not traveling the right direction, so to speak. So we'll see if it affects the Celtics when they go out to Dallas. But just a fun. If there's one thing you remember tonight, remember that you're at a bigger disadvantage when you travel west versus when you travel east. So
you were just out west, weren't you?
Yes, I was out west a couple times.
How long? California. I feel like you weren't home for like 6 months.
No. I was just I was out. I was out in California. I was out in New Mexico, Texas.
Anthony Bourdain over there.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a comment from Eric from the OHIO pod. He says, "That's right. Your Buckeye brethren are going to pluck the Ducks for you. Give 2 L's in a row for the Boilers."
Yeah, I mean, that's a game where I feel like maybe Purdue has the offense to hang, like with because I feel like to beat Oregon, you just have to outpace them, right? So we'll see, because like stopping them's not always the best strategy.
I think we've got the defense to. I think our defensive line is going to do really well against them.
I wonder if we'll bring out some alternate uniforms. I don't know.
That'd be the game to do it.
I just want actual uniforms.
Yeah, Boiler Uniforms has the uniforms, and he won't release them.
Hey, you
And-
prick.
Yeah, Ted figured out that he doesn't actually. I've just been saying that so people get mad at him, because people actually think like he has the like he knows what they are, but I don't think he does. He may. I don't know. He hasn't shown me. Shame on him. Shout out to Ted and Boiler Uniforms. Follow him on Twitter at Boiler Uniform, friend of the program. Anyway, sorry, Frank. Go ahead.
Y'all have to buy EA College Football to see the new uniforms.
Oh my good gosh, I'm so excited for that.
Same. Do we want to pivot from the Notre Dame game, since we've gotten away from that, to some recent college basketball news?
Sure.
Zach Edey is still tall.
Also true. But we are down one individual in our recruiting class for 2024.
Oh my God, the world is ending.
No, so let's Dylan. That's what I. So what Dylan's referring to is Purdue commit Cannon Catching.
I would be Chris, but yeah, thank you.
No. Dylan was saying, "Oh my gosh, the world's over," and that sort of thing. That's what I was referring to.
Okay.
I will take credit for saying smart stuff.
Yeah,
word on the street was he arrived on campus, and then within 24 hours announced that he was leaving campus. Word on the hidden streets is that he had some conversations with Painter that he didn't like. But this was the 4/5 star, depending on who you ask, recruit that a lot of people already had chalked up as the next big guy. He's already got NBA draft first round talk. And Dylan, your reaction that you just had right there, the world is ending and all that is really what I expected. Like that's what I expected. But honestly, we haven't really seen that. People are kind of just like, oh, okay. and that's honestly really surprising to me. Purdue fans tend to overreact and they tend to put a lot of stock into guys that have never played before. I'm in the camp of like I treat all incoming players as equal, and we'll see what happens when they take the floor. But his whole recruitment, everything leading up to this point has just been weird. There was that whole saga last season on Instagram where he like removed that he was a Purdue commit and people lost their minds and thought he was leaving, and it's just been full of drama. Chris?
So I think if this happened last year, everybody would be freaking out. But the fact we went to a Final Four and a national title game with what we do, like it's less, I think a lot less people are freaking out about stars because they know Painter can do what they need to, or Painter can do what he needs to. Jesus.
Love you, Eric. Good night. Sweet dreams.
Eric said basketball, and I'm old. I'm out of here. Hit that thumbs up, people. Good night, Boilers. Good to have y'all back. Go visit thecollegehuddle.com and check out all 73 podcasts. We haven't done a ton of podcasts since that started, but yeah, check out collegehuddle.com if you haven't heard of it yet. It's the largest collaboration of fan-driven and fan-ran podcasts. It's got, like I said, 73 different podcasts, so that means 73 schools are represented. Most of the teams we play this year, we're going to do a collaboration with somebody, so go check them out. What do you got?
But yeah, so that's definitely what I thought is that I think last year if Catchings transfers out or backs out of his commitment, people freak out. But now it's like, man, whatever. Because people know Painter can get to the promised land with what he's got.
Trust Painter.
Did you hear this recent Boiler Ball podcast where Painter talked about voting for starters going into the 2022 season, the 2023 season, and they were voting on Braden and said Braden was pretty much unanimous, but Fletcher was, a little bit closer vote. And
Really?
Painter told the staff that Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer are going to take us to the Final Four before they even played a minute for us.
So wait, who votes?
Apparently, I don't know. That was the first I'd heard of it. I guess it's the whole staff. I guess it's Elliot Bloom and probably PJ has a vote. I would guess. Brantley's got a vote. I would
the
guess.
Players vote.
Oh, I don't. I think they vote on captains. I don't think they vote on.
Yeah,
would vote
that'd
on
be
starters.
interesting, right?
Yeah.
Like as a player, pick the 5 starters,
Mm.
and then you tally them up.
Yeah.
Not that I would think that would affect Painter's decision, but I just think that'd be interesting.
Who voted for Chase? Chase, did you vote for yourself?
You can't vote for
man.
yourself, you nerd.
Yeah, that's that's interesting. And Fletcher has gotten a lot of undeserved hate throughout his career, but
Well, it's because most people are dumb and don't know what they're talking about.
he is a shooter. Shooters don't you can be a 40% 3-point shooter. That doesn't mean you're going to hit 2 of every 5. You're going to go 6 for 8 in one game. You're going to go 0 for 5 in another game. Like, that's how it works. But he showed up in some big games. He showed up against Tennessee in the first game. He showed up against Arizona. Was that right, Russ?
Yep.
27
Arizona.
points again. Yes, I was at that game. It was crazy.
Oh,
yeah.
Frank, I go
And
everywhere.
then Painter talked about last year when Fletch does that. Painter talks about how that goes in every scouting report the rest of the season.
Mhm.
Every team we play, they say, "Hey, this Fletcher Lawyer kid, he might not go off every night, but he put 27 on Arizona. He put 27 on Tennessee. He can ball." And so when you have that combined with the fact that you got a 2-time National Player of the Year, he just wasn't asked to do as much. And that's another thing Painter said in this recent interview was, Fletch gets the undue criticism because he didn't really ever get the shot to be that guy. Like, now this year, this is the first season where all these guys are on the team and they don't necessarily know who the best players on the team. I think it's pretty clear Braden Smith, but it was clear the last 2 years that it's Zach Edey, that nobody else has a shot at being the go-to guy. Now this year, there's a void that somebody's got to fill or the team's got to work together to fill. And so it's going to be interesting to see what does Fletch do? What do Miles Colvin, Camden Heide, what do those guys look like this year?
Yeah, Russ, you're absolutely right. And that gravity is something that can actually be measured. Shout out Ben Taylor for the work you do for basketball. You can measure gravity to a degree. He's done a really good job at that. But it goes into a scouting report, and that you can't sag off the guy. Yeah, he's a 40% 3-point shooter. He's put up 27 points in big games. People are knocking him because he had 0 points. I think it was 0 points in the national championship game. We didn't shoot a ton of threes.
No, we shot 4 threes, maybe.
Yeah, something. I think it was maybe 6, but we didn't shoot very many threes in that game. And for a guy whose primary role is a 3-point specialist, but you can go back and you can look at previous players who, let's say, are 3-point specialists in the modern sense. And a lot of them have gotten the same criticism. Sasha, loves Sasha, but people said the same thing about him. If he's not hitting shots, get him off the floor. He played with a broken pinky in the postseason, and people were just bashing him the entire time. Ryan Klein. I mean, people said
Ryan Klein's career high game
Klein.
was that Tennessee game at the very end of his career. Imagine if he got taken off the court.
Yep, and people said the same thing about Ryan Klein. They said the exact same thing about Ryan Klein. So guys whose primary goal is to sit in the corner, occupy space, stretch the defense a bit and hit threes. If they do so much more for the team than shoot. And if they're not scoring, Fletcher's a great passer. He's a great rebounder. He plays really hard. I'm glad to see Painter stick up for Fletch. What are you guys doing? There's all sorts of hand signals.
Oh no, I told Chris to read between the lines.
Well, it's like you guys are baseball managers.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, talk about the way the teams have played us too, and played us even late in the season last year. Edey's third to last game as a college basketball player was Tennessee, and they played him 1-on-1. When we're getting played 1-on-1, Edey's going to get the ball no matter how good a shooter Fletch is. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, but to flip back to the catching scenario for a second, his entire recruitment was weird. It never felt like he was fully in. And my immediate response was okay, well, we're done with this now. We can just move on, have a team without him. But maybe this is a hot take, maybe it's not, but I don't think that we're going to miss his presence a whole lot, to be honest with you.
We can't miss it when we never had it.
Yeah, but I mean, when we compare the team with him to the team that we now have without him, I don't necessarily think there's a huge drop off. Like, yes,
And I think
he
their team's
brings.
going to be so good the next few years still that we're not going to sit there and go, man, what if we had him on this team too?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
he brings. He would have brought a huge degree of athleticism. But like now we have that on the team. We have Miles Colvin. We have Cam Heidi.
Jakari
Is T-
Harris, I think, is going to be
Jakari Harris.
an
Absolutely.
absolute stud.
Is TKR athletic? I mean, yeah, I would say so. You know, Berg's an athletic guy. First is an athletic. Like we don't have the like clunky, slow guys anymore. You know, like for the most part, like we've upped our athleticism.
I very
like,
much think we could like lead the nation in pace next year.
Oh yeah, that's a definite possibility. And like I watched several of his full games. And like he's athletic, but he's raw, like most freshmen. And I think this is a scenario where he wanted promised playing time. He wanted promised minutes. I don't know what it was. And word on the street is Painter wasn't willing to do that, which good on him. But the
Good on
question
him.
I have
Well,
the question
what I heard
have
was
for you.
Cannon Catchings was he went in there and said, I'm going to be a lottery pick. I want 20 minutes a game. I want my shots a game. And Painter just responded and said, thanks for solving our scholarship problem.
Are you serious?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay.
That'd be so cool.
That would be some OG gangster shit.
Yeah.
And
But-
Pank does kind of look like a mobster. So
Oh, yeah.
But the
Put him in all
Don't
black
mess
suit.
with family.
the question I have for you all
Gabagoo.
is Painter has always been the type of coach to make his players earn everything. And the example I used before we went live was Braden Smith. He earned everything that he has. He started 2 full seasons. He's going to go into his junior year with more experience than most seniors under Painter. But does Painter need to maybe alter his approach a little bit? Does Painter need to, start maybe being a little bit more lenient toward these guys and giving some, because lots of coaches out there promise these guys the world. They say, yeah, you're going to come in, you're going to play 30 minutes a game, and then it doesn't happen. And so the reason why Purdue historically hasn't had a ton of transfer portal guys leaving or transferring out is because nothing was ever promised. But like, are we going to be able to continue to do that with this current era of recruiting, with NIL, with the transfer portal? That's the question.
Yes. I mean, NIL and transfer portal has been around for 3, 4, 5 years now, and we just made it to the
Russ,
Final
you
Four.
and I agreed. We were just saying no and yes to a different question.
Oh yeah, no, I was
We
just
agree.
messing with you. I just saw you. I just was doing the opposite of what you did,
Oh,
just to
okay.
mess with you. But yeah, no, I mean, absolutely, it will continue to work, and I love that he had that conversation before Catchings even stepped in the facility and put on a practice jersey and went to work with this team, because it's better. That's how you have a culture where you don't have a lot of guys transferring out. We keep expecting people to transfer out, and yeah, especially after the No Joe Eastern and the Matt Harm stuff went down, it's kind of, Purdue fans are a little bit surprised by that, and so they kind of expect it to happen again. But it's not, because Painter has those conversations and he doesn't promise anything, and he tells people up front that he's not going to promise anything. And we've also had a abnormally large amount of culture guys that have a connection with the program, right? Like, Jakari Harris's big dog's son, right? Like Waddell's even, legacy. And then you got First that brought his brother in the program, like there's a lot of guys in this program that are here for the right reasons, and they're here for Purdue. They're not here for minutes. They're not here for whatever else. If they get anything else on top of it, then great. But I think that's why you're going to see it continue to work for Painter. And not that the transfer stuff can't work. Like, you're going to see that as well. You saw that in the Final Four last year. Purdue was the only team that had more than 3 starters were actually recruited and played their whole career at the school that they're playing the Final Four for. So you're still going to see a lot of transfer portal stuff, but that doesn't mean that doing it the way that Painter is going to get, is going to be obsolete.
Well,
No, and
I was to say there's kind of these dividing kind of school of thought right now in terms of how you recruit. There are teams who play the transfer portal hard every season, and they lose guys to the transfer portal every season as well. So they'll lose 4 or 5 guys, and they'll bring in 4 or 5 guys, and they're doing this every year. Not knocking on Illinois, they're just one of the teams that have done that.
Yeah, and Illinois brought in like 10 guys, so that's not even,
Yeah, IU's done that the last few years. Russ, our local team, Louisville, I mean, they had like the six recruiting class, transfer portal wise, this past season. Kansas was number 1 last season. They had the best recruiting class. Louisville was number 2. I think Maryland was top 5 for transfer portal. And I'm not saying it's not a viable strategy. I'm saying I haven't seen it work yet. Like UConn, they had a couple transfers. They had Cam Spencer, right? And then Tristan Newton was a transfer earlier in his career. But they're a largely like homegrown team, So I just when I see it work, I'll start to say yes, that's a viable strategy. But this whole notion that Painter is not doing the right things, he's not getting on the transfer portal train. Like we're building a pipeline. We don't need to go in the transfer portal, and I think that's the thing that gets lost is that like, okay, cool, IU got Umar Ballo, they got a couple other guards, they're a preseason top 10 team. They're doing all these things. They're making all these moves. We're developing guys that we've had in our system for 2 or 3 years now. So I mean, that's I would rather have the latter, but I just want to know, and we won't know for a while, but how sustainable will that be going forward? Because a lot of coaches are talking about not even recruiting guys out of high school anymore. Because why do it? Like look at AJ Storr. He comes in, St. John's, leaves, goes to Wisconsin, leaves. Where he end up? Kansas. So he's basically just got into a bidding war. So I don't know what's going to happen, but
because I think the last, like Russ said, 4 to 5 years we've been in the transfer portal and dealing with this. Painter is stuck to his principles about doing things that's right and building guys to not just be better basketball players, but be better men. And we got to a national title game. UConn didn't have a ton of transfers in. Purdue didn't have a ton of transfers in. I think at the end of the day, there's something to be said for sticking to your principles. And I think that teams like Purdue and UConn and Michigan State, I don't think they have a lot of transfers in, but teams like that just don't have a lot of that kind of really build that culture. My thing is like kind of at the beginning of your question, I thought of this, and you're talking about like, kind of pandering to some of these recruits and doing some of that stuff about being lottery picks. And I'm like, and while I like the guy, he did a lot of fun things for us. Jaden Ivey comes to mind about the pandering and the doing things because a guy's really, really good. And he was really, really good, but we lost about half a dozen games because he's really, really good without a fully functioning brain.
Did you hear, so that interview that Painter just gave, I keep referencing it, but he even said that Jaden Ivey, the reason he couldn't play him late in games as a freshman was because every time he got the ball, he shot it. He didn't make the right play. He just tried to score every time he got the ball. And it's like
the game-winning shot from Ohio State wouldn't have been the game winner because it wasn't the play.
Yeah,
yeah.
But I think if you get guys who are committed to the program and not committed to themselves, you go program. Sorry.
You got it, Russ. Good job.
You go farther. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just wonder how much longer we'll be able to do that. Just with the landscape of college sports in general changing so rapidly. I mean, it's guys are basically creating auctions for themselves. They're getting into bidding wars and all that. Like we saw Nigel Pack, for example. That was a guy that like Purdue fans were so upset that we didn't get. And we had him, and then Miami outbid Purdue effectively, and he went there. But like, do you really want a guy who's just trying to get a paycheck?
But who ended up better? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, they went to a Final Four.
Picking up what you put.
They go to a Final
Did they?
Four?
I don't think they did. I think
at
they
least
went to
at least an Elite Eight. Yeah,
they went to Elite Eight. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just it's hard. It's hard to say what will happen in the future, but I'm confident in Painter. And Painter has even said that like he's concerned that the transfer portal is going to come back to bite him at some point. Mm-hmm. So we'll just have to see. But I want to ask you all this. I posed this question maybe halfway through the basketball season, and I asked the question: will Lance Jones be the most memorable single season transfer we've ever had?
Yes.
And Damon, who's not with us tonight, nothing's wrong with him. He's just not here. I said that as if like something bad happened to him.
Debatable.
Yeah. He's fine. He's just not here. But he
fine.
said it all depends on what happens in the postseason. But like, I can't speak for you all. I forget about some of the 5th-year seniors we've had. Like I forgot about Jihad Proctor for a little while
Yeah.
until I saw him in a video, and I forget about Evan Boudreaux. You know,
Wow.
I forget about
He played 2
everybody.
years, I think. I think he played
he
2.
did.
didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was gonna be my next point, and he was around for 2 years. So, like,
I know you can't forget the guy that baptized the masses there in Bloomington.
yeah, no,
John
I can never
Octius.
forget him. Yeah, he's a great guy. But I can't envision forgetting Lance Jones. I just can't.
No.
The land stance. It's forever known as the land stance.
Yeah.
And,
To be honest-
and to be honest, the main reason I'm going to remember Lance is the 3-pointer he hit with 2:30 to go against Tennessee to send us to a Final Four.
Well, he just
Yeah.
he just had a knack for timely plays.
Oh, yeah.
Timely steals, timely
No.
shots, timely anything.
Personally, I'm always going to think of Lance Jones hand in hand with David Jenkins Jr. You know, I think
Mhm.
that, you know, David Jenkins Jr., what he did may not have had the on-court and postseason results that what Lance Jones did, but without him, I don't know if we see Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer develop the way that they did. I don't know if we see that. I think that because the way that team talked about what his impact was in that locker room and with that team, I don't think people understand the impact that he had. And I think that Final Four run was just as much because of him really as it was because of Lance Jones. That's just me personally.
Yeah, I mean, David Jenkins Jr. I think came in with the expectation that he was going to start. And I think, you know, similar thing happened with Lance Jones, where he talked about going to the coaching staff during the summer and asking if he was ever going to play. You know, like he came in thinking that, you know, he was gonna have you know, basically a guaranteed starting spot because of his experience, and then was like, oh man, these guys can play. And then he was like, man, did I make the wrong decision? But to me, I think he will be the most memorable 5th-year senior. For some reason, next to John Octius for me. I don't know why. Love John Octius. Huge fan of John Octius.
That one play, you do that play like against Indiana. You know, that's how you put your impact on a program.
Yeah, but like guys like, you know, we talked about Jihad Proctor, Johnny Hill. He's another one who just
I was thinking of Johnny Hill just now because I was at the game. He went bananas at Mackey against IU.
Yeah, it's the 5th-year guys always seem to go off against IU. Sterling Carter went off against IU. If you guys remember that one, he like dropped like 30 or something. So I just wanted to ask that question. In my mind, he will be the most memorable 5th-year guy. But that's me.
There's one more before we go. I want to put one more little semi-announcement or semi-new development you might have seen on our Twitter out there. And we mentioned the EA college football game. Stay tuned for some gaming stuff from the Boiler Express community. If you haven't been paying attention, you know, let's take this comment away because I have a new moniker tonight. I'm pretty much until someone else beats me now. I'm the Madden champ of the podcast.
Oh, that won't last long, my friend.
Stand by.
You know, I mean, I think I've already beat Chris before.
That was like 3 years ago, you nerd.
Hey,
Listen,
Russ,
classic Cowboys fan. 25
I beat you in
years later.
Virginia. I beat you when we traveled to Virginia Tech together.
We're getting an X series. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I don't have a gaming console, so yeah.
I love how Russ is like, I'm the Madden champ, and then everyone brings up when they beat him.
Yeah.
Oh, one person, literally one person, Dylan.
Or his dementia.
Oh my!
Just
goodness.
you wait, pal. Just
Hey,
you
I'm
wait.
right here. I'm right here.
Boy,
So anybody else got anything? No, we're an hour and 3 minutes in. I think we're
glad I could come in
Okay.
and really
Okay.
I contributed a ton.
best dressed podcaster on the streets. in
yeah,
the
Fritz. We
huddle.
appreciate you joining us there, bud.
I put up Cody's comment. Hell yeah, brother.
Cody says Dylan
Hey,
will
Cody,
be,
I need you to
the
shut the
champion.
hell up. Okay.
I
Listen,
like how he calls you DK too. It brings back some old memories.
Yeah,
No.
that's the whole reason I go by DK on the Twitter streets.
Yeah. So which DK? Speaking of, did you ever drink that beer that was mailed to us?
No, it's still in the
Yeah,
package.
mine's in my refrigerator.
I'm afraid
We'll
to
have
drink.
to drink that. I have to drink that. It's some
Let's do it. Do we play that team this year in football? I don't think
in
so.
basketball we do. Yeah, not in
Well,
who,
maybe-
Maryland?
Maybe after a big
Yeah.
dub, we'll drink it.
Yeah,
I
so
was
we're-
gonna tape around it and write turtle tears.
We're referencing, if any of you all remember, we did a collaborative podcast with a Maryland group, and we we made a bet so that if
A
Purdue won,
defunct podcast.
if Purdue won, they would have to send us some Maryland beer, which did arrive to me in a sketchy
It
looking
looked like a
package that was like duct tape.
BOMB.
Yeah, with like no return address, and my wife was terrified. So mine's still in my fridge. We'll have to drink that.
You gave
on
him
the
your
show.
home address?
Yes.
Buddy, I had him
yes.
send that to the office. And
Yeah.
Not
person
all
that-
of us have an office.
I
Dylan.
don't now,
You
but
clown.
I no longer have one.
Yeah. So we'll have to do that. Well, we have a comment here. Russ will 100% be the champ in my
Right, you
unbiased
can't-
opinion.
Russ, that's your own.
What
you
happened?
Jesus.
Stupid.
That wasn't.
clown.
What are you
At
talking
least,
about?
at
I-
least make
that's
a burner. At least text Dan and
like a
have Dan
coincidence.
say it.
I don't know. I
'cause
can't
Dan's
comment.
the
I'm on the
cooler
stream. I
brother.
can't comment while I'm on the stream. I don't know.
All right.
Dan's so much cooler than you.
I gotta go.
Well, we are at the hour and 5
Hey
minute
Dan, if
mark.
you're watching, we'll replace you with Russ. Or
Russ,
we'll replace Russ with you.
Russ, go
Uh,
ahead and sign us off, sir.
Yeah, check out Martin Vintage BXP at checkout for 10% off. Check out at
Wow.
Cincy Blitzboards. Check out CBB Analytics, all that good stuff, and check out collegehuddle.com. And we're going to be on here more often. We're going to break down all the games this year, so we're going to try to get back more regular. So we'll see you all next time.
Love
You're
yins.
up.
Love you all.